So what's up everybody, and welcome to your next Sfml 2.0 tutorial. And in this tutorial we are going to be learning about live keyboard input. Now, as you can clearly see, we have the code from the last tutorial. We're going to be using the code and the new code we're going to be using today to actually move our character across the screen, which is going to be pretty cool. Okay. So live keyboard input is much different than event input. Events occur when something happens. When you move your mouse, that an event occurs, so on and so forth. Live keyboard input or whatever triggers whenever anything happens. Like, it is always checking it. Always checking for live keyboard input and what's happening with the global keyboard, right? So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna cut this, right? Let's cut this right here, and we can get rid of this right here. So outside the event loop, what we're gonna do is this, and let me just format this properly, indent it properly. Okay, so instead of saying if event.keycode or so on and so forth, this is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna say if SF keyboard is key pressed, we say SF keyboard up. So one thing we notice is that this is a static method. So this is a part of the keyboard class, but it's a static function or method, whichever one you like to call it. And the reason why it's static is because it's always checking for the current keyboard we're looking for, right? So it doesn't need to check a single keyboard or a single key press or something like that. It's checking the whole keyboard at the same time, simultaneously, right? Or, yeah, I think that's the right word. Yeah, so then what we're going to do, we're going to do this for every single one. So we can just copy this right here. Or if you want to type it out, it's up to you. Just paste it there. And do that for everything. So we got that. And last one for left. Okay, so we got this. So then when we press it, it'll move in a certain direction. The same thing should happen. So just to show you I'm not lying, let me just run this. When I press right, it will turn right, up, left, so on and so forth. But you'll see the difference in a second. So what we're going to do now, So we're going to add braces, and I'm going to say player image dot move. And when they press the up key, it wants to know the offset which we move by, and so on and so forth, right? Now I'm not. It just wants to know where we're gonna be moving. So we're just gonna be moving 0 in the x coordinate, and we'll just say -1 in the y coordinate. Now, why do we set -1 rather than 1? Right? Shouldn't we be increasing when we're going up? Well, no. When it comes to computer graphics, the higher up on the screen, the lower the number is. So let me open up paint.net quickly to show you an example. So this is the screen, this is our window right here, okay? The pixel 0, 0 is at this coordinate right here. And if the screen width is 800 by 600, the pixel 800, 600 is down over here. So when we go down, we increase value. So the further down we go, so like this pixel would be like 0, 1, 0, 2, so on and so forth. When we go towards the right, we increase. When we go down, we increase. The further up, we decrease, right? And the further left we decrease. The further left we go, we decrease the value. Okay, so when we do -1, that's gonna move the player towards the top of the screen. And when we press down, we're gonna say player image dot move 0, 1. That's gonna move it down. When we move right, we're gonna say player image dot move 1, 0, moving towards the right of the screen. And we're gonna say for left, player dot move -1 0. Okay, so now let's see how this is gonna work. So when we press right, we move to the right, press left, move to left, so on and so forth. So we got our movement down packed. And if the movement's too fast for you, you notice that it is a float value. So you can put like 0.5 or so on and so forth to move it like that. I just letting you know from now, this is not the best way to actually do movement, just because if we do it just like this by just placing a value in there, depending on the speed of the computer, it can move it at different intervals. Say my computer can update this frame 60 times a second, and I'm on a slower computer and it can only update at 20 frames per second, right? Then when I press this down for 1 second, this player, if I press the right button for 1 second, the player's gonna move 60 pixels, right? But if I'm on the computer that only updates 20 frames per second, it's only gonna move 20 spaces, and therefore it's gonna be unbalanced. You're gonna want it to be the same for every computer. And that's how you can use the clock and stuff like that. But this tutorial is not for that. But we're gonna be getting to some clock stuff in just a second. So what we're gonna do at the top right now is we're going to add some float values. So we're gonna say float frame counter, switch frame, and frame speed. So we're gonna set frame speed equal to 500. We'll set frame counter equal to 0, and we'll set frame speed equals to 100. Sorry. So what we're gonna do right here is we're gonna say, we have to go to the top and do one last thing. So we gotta make an SF clock instance, and we'll just call this clock. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna say frame counter plus equals clock dot restarts dot as seconds. Okay, and then we're gonna say if frame counter is greater than or equal to switch frame, then we will do this stuff in here, and we're gonna add frame counters equal to 0. And before I explain this, I just want to show you the difference that this makes. So right now we don't really see much of an animation. Oh, the reason being is this: we have to say frame speed times. And as we can see, the animation is slower. Now, why is this animation slower? Well, let's do this. Let's do something right here. So we're just gonna say stdcl clock dot restart, or let's say clock dot get elapsed time as seconds. Okay. And let's look at the console window for a second. So let's see, we're getting like 0.00 something. So I'm gonna close that. So let's say we're getting 0.001 whatever, right? 0.0011. Okay? And we know that our frame speed is equal to 500, okay? So what this is gonna do is, let's open the calculator. So 500 times 0.0011 is equal to 0.55. So each time our frame counter is gonna increase by 0.55 till it is greater than or equal to switch frame. We set it to 0, we increase the frame, and so on and so forth. So it's not going to update every single frame. It's going to update every single few every single few frames, and therefore we got a steady a steady movement. And with this method, that means our animation is gonna run the same speed on every single computer. How's that so? Well, what is happening is get elapsed time is letting us know how much time passed from the last frame. On a fast, since my computer's fast, or it's not the fastest, but since my computer's fairly modern, it's updating at point zero zero 0.001 seconds, 0.001 times per like how do I explain this? Every 0.001 seconds it is updating. Sorry, I got a bit confused. So it's updating that many times. So on a slower computer, it might be updating once every 2 seconds, right? So if it was updating every 2 seconds, let's see what would happen. So we get 0.55. So let's pretend my computer updates every second, right? And I have another slower computer that updates every 2 seconds, right? So 500 times 1 is equal to 500. That means that every single second I want to increase the value by 500. Now on a slower computer, let's say it updates every 2 seconds. So clock that get elapsed time is going to return the value 2. So 500 times 2 is equal to 1,000. So although it doesn't actually update every single second, every single time it refreshes or updates, it's gonna increase it by 1,000. So it's gonna accommodate for the same value that we have. So it might cause a bit of what we call lag, but it will increase by the same value every single time. And that's essentially what is going on in this with this animation. So that is it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. In the next tutorial, we're going to be learning about live mouse input. We're going to be using this exact code, but instead of using keyboard input, we're going to be using mouse input. So that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe, and bye.